I recently released Major Experimental. This is not that. Hi there, I'm Ben. This is Solo Therapy, my substitute for psychotherapy, where I drink tea and talk about what's on my mind. I guess it's the magic of life. Today I thought I had a major topic, but I actually changed my stance on the topic yesterday night while driving. The topic was once again related to driving. It would have been I'm speeding like a maniac because I thought I was going way over the speed limit a lot at the time, which for me is painful, not in the literal sense, but in the worst sense. But I've actually changed my stance on that because I might not actually be speeding. I'm not quite too sure about it. The reason I've changed my stance is I've driven by a speeding camera that I hadn't known was going to be there, and it didn't trigger. I thought I was over the speed limit, but I guess I went enough over the speed limit for it to be considered outside of tolerance for the camera. And considering those cameras are there for economic gains of the city among enforcing the speed limit, but if you were to only enforce the speed limit, you wouldn't hide them. I guess that's changed my stance a bit because it means I'm still slower than others. And once I had that realization, I also recognised the idea of, yeah, okay, I may be thinking I'm fast, but what might have changed is just my perception of speed. This is because others are still frequently faster than I am. Comparison's the end of all joy, but still. Others still cut me off to switch lanes and so on. So I might not be speeding as crazily as I thought. I might actually be within my previously established tolerance of 3 kph or 5%, whichever is higher. Within settlements, it's guaranteed 3 kph because no more than 60 speed limit is here. Oh well. It's just kind of funny because it's based on the same concept as an obese person does not see the same hill a fit person does. Where I am on that spectrum, I don't bloody know, but they see different hills physically, and I guess that is past me to current me, or months past me to yesterday past me. I bet you it'll still be the same couple of hours in the future me when I'm headed to work. I am once again doing this before work just because I have time now, and currently we're working late, so yay. One of my colleagues, because the current premises we're on for testing electric equipment requires 2 people at minimum to be there. So one of the colleagues said they would be open for staying late tonight, which I am happy with because I kind of want to get higher numbers. There's no pressure from any other party, but I'm pressuring myself. The chief has emphasised on multiple occasions the importance of quality of work to them, which I don't mind because I don't consider doing the work if I'm not doing it with full quality. Former biology teacher of mine did at one point, I think they're retired now, did at one point in time express that I am an extremist in whatever I do, and I guess they are right. Though in terms of work, it works out in my work ethic. Today we have 2 snacks. The first one is homemade shortbread thingies, which is what we're starting off with. They're quite good. I actually like them. So, as a variable I hadn't considered much in the past. I guess it's an aspect of coming of age, getting old, getting older. The fact that I now see my going over the speed limit by my past self's tolerances that were alright and not painful as bordering on painful. The joke is I still do it. I guess that's the joke on me, really, but you know, it's just the way it is. I guess I now drive more with purpose than I did in the past. I leave here, my place, and I am going to a destination. My current deployment location, that is. Sometime next week I'll have to be the office again. Oddly enough, because I am comped for the full time, I am away from home. Not in work hours, but with food. So, what's it called? There's a flat rate. More than 8 hours out of the house, you get an extra $14. More than 24 hours, you get an extra 28. I get those extra 14 almost every day, which is basically another net hour because it's untaxed, because it's just reimbursement, legally speaking. What's been going on? I've been doing really rather adult. I've changed my electricity provider starting November of 2025. Oh, might as well state what time is today and what day is today. Today is Thursday, the 12th of December, so 12/12/2024. I released, we'll get back to the release bit later, even though it's very fitting with dates. I also managed to start transferring my bank account. So my wages will be going to a new one, not the old one, which is rather restrictive. The old one, that is, not the new one. I've changed my provider for internet here. From Vodafone to Telecom, it's just every other year you have to switch back, or you end up paying the premium of comfortability. Not changing contract is more comfortable, but it also does cost more money. And I had some downtime. I was at work early, and the colleagues were both late. So I had plenty of time to arrange a new contract. That is actually starting beginning of January, like a week in or so. Which means I bought another very adult thing. Just have to look out not to dox myself. Give me a sec. Don't want to be doxing ourselves, do we? This was the first package I ever received for which Amazon required a PIN. But with hindsight, I see why they require a PIN. Because in the end of the day, I'll just open it to not dox myself. I see why they require a PIN. Because they ship it in the exterior packaging of the router itself. Router/modem is both in one. I got a fancy, pretty up to spec Fritzbox 6670 cable. It's a state of the art, one might call it, because the alternative would have been with switching contract providers, renting a router from them again. I did this with the previous one. I'll have it ready for pickup once the contract run out, but odds are they just leave it behind. But even then, it's only compatible with them, to my understanding. It's not worth it. This router will have cost approximately 2.5 years rent on a router. But considering it supports Wi-Fi 7, I reckon it should last for way longer than that. At which time I'm in profit, profit. The joke is I'm spending this money to save up in the future. What I am not spending, or have not spent because I feel guilty spending too much money, this was simply out of necessity due to switching the phone contract. Is how I twist it in my mind, how I do mental gymnastics, is, for example, bog roll or showering soap. Soap I discussed way back. Been discussing it for more than 90 episodes, I know that much. More than 90 sessions. I still haven't bought in bulk, and even with bog roll, I'm now running out. So I am considering before work dropping by the shops and getting some bog roll, which is kind of an odd thing, because last time I bought it was beginning of the pandemic, when it was limited how much you could have. Funny how that works, but with the bog roll, I like having reserves because you have to lug it around if you buy it, and it doesn't fit in Euronorm crates, and if then it takes a lot of the space. So I just like having a minimum order of the supply of the same as my clothing here, which is Engelbert Strauss, which is basically German workwear. Apparently most countries have similar. Guess it's just a market niche that end up establishing one or two suppliers. And they have a minimum order 72 rolls of B-roll, which is what I ordered when I moved in here more than 3 years ago. That is now running out, so I really need to get around to order some, but nah, wait till next year, because now with all the Hanukkah, Christmas, winter, solace celebrations, whatever you may call them, festivities, mostly Christmas because this is a Christian culture. Shipping currently is not so great, so I'd rather not order the bog roll now and have it arrive while I'm not here at a to be disclosed time, because what would I announce when I'm not home? I only have a couple of security cameras. That being said, I do aim to upgrade to have all perspectives covered in this flat eventually. Before that, I got to pay off debt with my mum and my sister, and I got to put some aside for a rainy day. Also got to get a service on the car soon enough. We'll have to beginning next year. Nice thing is I'll actually have a paycheck and I'll be able to afford the service, no worries. So that's pretty nice, you know. I've been using the mornings/noons before work rather productively. Well, I guess I say rather productively. Monday I went by the tea joint, which was a pleasure as always. Haven't done as much reading as I would like to, but you know, it'll work out. With work yesterday, I managed 126 devices examined on my tester, but one of them had been done by a colleague because I struggled to get through the paint to find the protective earth. Not the. And 4 of them I had to say, delete these 4 because I forgot to plug in a USB connection beforehand, so I'd been doing them on the wrong codes because my scanner hadn't been connected. Good news is I noticed after only 4. Bad news is it took me 4 to notice because the last 3 digits of the first 4 aligned with the internal counter, which is just, I guess, odd circumstances. I believe they aligned, I'm not sure. We'll be able to check next week when I'm in the office, because as this will be my first data dump, I'm actually going to look through the data with my chief, or my chief's going to look through with me, see what I've done, what I could have done better, what I should be doing, what I shouldn't be doing. I have some cases where, for example, I took a picture of the situation because it was a microwave on a kitchen countertop, and in the annotation I did $OFFU, which means ohne feuerfeste Unterlage, without fireproof board below. Translation. So I guess that's the disadvantage of doing these early in the day. Without being fireproof below, there we go. And I took a picture of that, and the reason I've done it with question marks is because I know I'm going to sit there and have a look at the values with my chief. My chief's going to have a look with me, really. And I can refer back to the picture then, because it'll most certainly come up, what do you mean with these question marks? And I'll be able to whip up my phone and say, haha, here. But after I learned that would most certainly qualify as a not FFU, so OFFU, no question marks. I'm actually at the point where I believe either today or tomorrow, yeah, today's Thursday, either today or tomorrow I can get 150, if I'm lucky, 200 things done. And 200 is like, yeah, you're experienced. I'm not experienced, but you know, I got the motivation, I got the understanding, and I'm starting to figure out the workflows, which is beneficial, I guess. As I was talking about dates, reason I released 2024 or 20.24, I'm not prescribing how it's pronounced, day before yesterday, because it was rather poetic date and time. I guess funny way of thinking of it, but it was 10/12/2024 at 8:24 past 8 p.m. So 2024 in time, with a runtime of 2024. You know, it's just funny. Oh, and 10/12/24, day, month, because it's precisely half of 2024. No matter which way you look at it, which is oddly poetic. Oh, I'm munching on them, and I haven't even explained what I'm munching on. The other snack of the day is some Swiss Lindt chocolates I was given by a friend. I believe for helping move some things or so, but I hadn't even realised. And they'd given me a bag of quinoa, so this is just out of the blue for all I understand. Funny how that works, really. Wednesday in the week, so 6 days from now, I'm going to be leaving work early first time. Today I'm asked my colleagues how to do that, how to communicate that, because I do got the end of year screening of Film Club. Actually had to pay for a ticket this time just because, surprise. I say that a lot these days, surprise that is. We have to figure some way of limiting the amount of people and paying for the cinema. Might as well do both with the same thing. What I don't understand is 9% of the price we ended up paying was just for the service we ended up paying over, which seemed like a lot for a digital service that run by itself. It's not like you can do without it, though, can you? I do got partaking in a film project coming up early next year, Jan or Feb, on a Saturday. I will be providing my car, and I'll be doing the lighting, and I might act one role. Interesting enough, the car will also be the main motif, because one needs to shoot something, and this person decided, no, a car would be good, and they asked me, and I agreed, so magic. These chocolates are quite nice, but I don't know the right temperature to keep them to consume them, because fridge is too cold, just flat is a bit warmish. I wonder if it says on the packaging. It says cool and dry. Which is a good way of not saying much, you know. I haven't been playing barely any video games. Sometimes when I get home at night to go to sleep to, I guess. I'm happy about that to some degree. I mean, video games are objectively not very productive use of time. Recreation is a use of time that is productive, though, and they can serve for that, and they do serve for me for that still, even though I do way less of them. I've been receiving a lot of letters. I received a response to a letter I sent I dropped in the mailbox myself, end of March of this year. I now received a response, which to me is kind of taking the piss. Then again, at least they responded at all, but I've already written it off because I'm not getting any money from them anymore. In my eyes, they'll always owe me $800 because they deducted what money I got from them, which I was entitled to. because I had other money coming in, but the other money coming in was to pay for driving to my internship. So, you know. And yeah, according to income tax law, I still made a profit, but income tax law does not reflect reality, because income tax law only covers half the distance by definition. Don't want crumbs, do we? With work is actually going really rather well. I don't like the time early in the day, just because there commonly still is some people in the offices we are doing, which means one would not want to disturb them because they're also working, supposedly. Not supposedly, they are also working, which means one want to annoy them as little as necessary and distract them as little as necessary. But later at night, when there's no one around, one is in a big room office, big space office by oneself, you know, with about 20 desks. One can just listen to music on one ear and sing along and do one's thing. And that's way more enjoyable, which is admittedly why I asked a colleague if we could stay later one of these days, and they said either today or tomorrow, but I do understand they have family here, so priorities, you know. One other thing is another colleague yesterday showed us their new car, because this is a profession in which we drive a lot. I believe I responded intactful, and I may actually apologise, because I asked, "Ooh, so what's his history?" And apparently that might be a thing people don't do in this society. Admittedly, I did compliment the ebonised walnut interior beforehand, but still, you know. I understand I am in a neurotypical society, and they did not react to my disadvantage, which is something I ought to thank them for, I reckon. Then again, I might be completely overanalyzing the situation because I'm autistic. I have recently harvested more show and tell. This is my first harvest ever. It's only about 6 grams, but there we go. Oh, the smell's strong. Joke is, I don't even plan on smoking it. I just have it. Funny how that works. But I like driving in my car way too much. It's not quite a Jaguar. To risk that. So if I do smoke anytime soon, it'll be when I do not plan on driving after, which is most days not. Because I drive on the daily, basically. Around Christmas I might have some time. And also the right circumstances to smoke 1 or 2 tokes. But that's about it. It's kind of funny, but I guess I like the smell. And it's way below any legal threshold. I would be allowed to have 6 times as much before it would be questionable. And in the land I live in, the capital land of this country, Berlin, even with 10 times as much, they wouldn't give a shit. Because here they didn't give a shit before it was legal. Which is also parallel to the speeding again. It feels like, not just to me, but also other references on the Reddits and so on, anecdotal evidence, that people are driving crazier and crazier. I was thinking, no, this also applied to me. Then again, it turns out it may not. It may just be a matter of my perspective. But even people who've been on the road way longer than I've been seem to share the opinion of other people are driving less and less careful. I mean, it's heavy machinery after all, weigh an order of magnitude more than humans, have the power to kill humans. And there appears to be a general consensus that it's less and less shit's given, which I understand why. Legally speaking, in this country, it will always remain just as illegal as it was yesterday, because enforcement does not change the legality. But many rules of the road are not enforced, either to policing having other priorities, or there not being enough policing. Then again, that does lead to people dying. I mean, a person close to a person in my life recently got run over by a person most certainly going more than double the speed limit while they were on the bicycle. Not the person going more than double the speed limit, they were in a Beamer, but still, you know. Like, first off, the person in the Beamer, they were young, they now have to live with that knowledge for the rest of their lives, which if they aren't reflected, they won't be too bothered, but assuming they are somewhat reflected, they'll be in a difficult position. Because this is a car-centric country, they won't face many legal repercussions, but also the family, the person that was run over, now no longer have that person. And it's kind of, you know, not so great. But I guess that's the same thing as to why I test electric equipment. It's because the chief and me have very well established, yes, there might be legal boundaries, but my ethical standards are higher. I would not want to live with myself knowing I let something pass that shouldn't have, that ended up killing someone. Which means I tend to err on the side of caution, but obviously one can only stretch it so far. There is things one should take as defective and that one cannot, because people brought it privately and it's not going to do any harm. But that's then within the personal lenience of the examiner, of the tester. Which I, fairly enough so, do not have much of yet, because I'm missing a lot of experience. At this time, I'm not allowed to test by myself flat out, no matter where. Because electrically, I'm next to any person, I'm the next lowest qualified. Plan is to change that eventually, till I might be the highest qualified standard, but see that down the road. But yesterday, I did, for example, do triple distributor power, and I collected that and replaced it, because first off, we've been given replacements, and that one was very much so walking on the edge of okay now, but we're signing off on this stuff for the next 2 years. And in 2 years, that will most certainly not be good anymore. It wouldn't most certainly not be good in 1.5 years, and we don't want people dying, because we'd have to live with it. And legally, it wouldn't be too great either, but, you know. So I've just replaced it. That is now a defective unit, which is not in the interests of the environment. But, you know, was a bit of carbon dioxide versus human life. Well, considering the amount of carbon dioxide a human emits over its life, quite a lot of carbon dioxide. So I'm confident replacing a distributor for electric is not the issue. A triple socket, one cord with a male end, go to 3 females. Easy enough, you know. There's also interesting with my now job, I guess. Fancy, I have a job. Is the idea of, hey, we are the authority figures, but we are in people's homes away from homes when they're not there. Which is the idea of treating people's workplaces respectfully and trying to leave them as best as we can after the fact. Which is way harder with some than it is with others. Some have a dozen or so pen bins, just round things with pens in them. I don't know what they need a dozen of them or so for, but they have them. And it's not on me to decide if they need them. My decision is they have them. If it's electric, I need to test it. If it's not, I just need to remove it and replace it once I'm done. Want it think easy enough, At times it can be challenging. Man, I'm only 1 tea in and I'm running out of things to say. Thank you very much for sticking around and watching me talk, listening to me talk, whatever you do. Hell, reading me talk. I do not currently provide captions, but YouTube's inbuilt are acceptable. So, Let me just smell this once more. Yeah, definitely some flowers. That is definitely a flower. That's probably a head, to be fair. So anyways, thank you very much for sticking around. I'm hoping I'll manage more than I did yesterday. I'm hoping the same is true for you too. Thank you very much for sticking around. I'll see you around. Cheerio.